My friends, let me begin with a simple truth. The balance of power in the world is shifting. And it is shifting not because one nation is falling, but because another is rising. India today is no longer just a participant in the global economy. It is a driver of it. It is no longer a follower of innovation. It is a creator of it. And it is no longer a voice on the sidelines. It is a voice the world must listen to. There was a time when decisions made in distant capitals dictated the course of India's destiny. But that time is gone. Today, the world recognizes that India's choices, its partnerships, its innovations, and its resilience shape not only its own future, but the future of global stability and prosperity. When nations look at India, they see a population of unmatched youth, a market of unparalleled size, and a democracy of unwavering strength. They see a partner too valuable to ignore, too influential to sideline, too powerful to confront without consequence. India's rise as a global power is not an accident of circumstance. It is the result of decades of determination, resilience, and vision. What was once seen as a developing nation striving to catch up with the rest of the world has now become a nation that others look to for leadership, innovation, and balance in uncertain times. The strength of its economy, the expansion of its technology sector, and the scale of its entrepreneurial energy have made it impossible for the world to ignore. From space exploration to digital transformation, from defense partnerships to climate commitments, India has stepped into arenas once dominated by a handful of nations and has proven that it belongs not just at the table, but at the head of it. When global issues are debated, whether about trade, security, or sustainability, the voice of India carries weight, and the choices it makes influence the direction of entire regions. This transformation is not simply about economic numbers or growth rates. It is about the power of a nation to define its own path, and in doing so, to inspire others to believe that greatness comes from persistence, from belief in a shared destiny, and from the courage to never settle for less than what is possible. Nations around the world are beginning to adjust their strategies, their alliances, and their priorities, because they recognize that India is not just participating in the global story anymore, it is helping to write it. The foundation of India's growing influence lies in its unmatched demographic advantage. With one of the youngest populations in the world, India is positioned not only as a nation of today, but as the nation of tomorrow. While much of the developed world faces the challenges of aging populations and shrinking workforces, India possesses a youthful energy that drives innovation, productivity, and ambition. This generation is not limited by the boundaries that confined previous ones. They are connected to the fresh world through technology, eager to learn, and bold enough to dream on a global scale. In classrooms, in startups, in laboratories, and on factory floors, millions of young Indians are shaping the future with ideas that challenge the status quo and create new possibilities for progress. The energy of this demographic is not just a number on a chart. It is a force that influences markets, drives consumption, and demands opportunities that push leaders to think bigger and faster. This unique demographic dividend gives India an edge that few other nations can claim, and it places India in a position where its youth are not merely adapting to the world, they are transforming it. The vitality, creativity, and resilience of this young workforce are reshaping industries and redefining what global leadership will look like in the decades to come, proving that the strength of a nation lies not only in its resources, but in the spirit and potential of its people. India's rise is also being fueled by its extraordinary technological and digital revolution, a transformation that has redefined what progress looks like in the 21st century. With one of the fastest growing digital economies in the world, India has shown how technology can be leveraged not only to drive growth, but also to empower ordinary citizens. From mobile banking that reaches the remotest villages, to digital identification systems that give every individual recognition and access, to startups that compete on the global stage with groundbreaking innovations. India has proven that technology is not just for the elite, but a tool to lift millions into opportunity. This digital movement has created an ecosystem where entrepreneurship thrives, where young innovators see challenges not as barriers, but as invitations to build solutions, and where global companies view India not just as a market, but as a hub of creativity and resilience. The expansion of internet connectivity has turned India into a land where ideas flow freely, where voices that were once unheard are amplified, and where collaboration across borders becomes a daily reality. The power of this digital transformation is not only changing the way people live and work, but is also redefining India's role in the global economy. As industries evolve with artificial intelligence, robotics, and renewable technologies, India's ability to adapt and lead positions it is more than just a participant in the future. It positions India as a country setting the pace for the rest of the world. Another undeniable factor shaping this new reality is India's unmatched demographic advantage. With one of the youngest populations on the planet, India stands at a moment in history where its people are not a burden, but its greatest strength. A nation where the majority of its citizens are under the age of 35 is a nation overflowing with energy, ambition, and untapped potential. This youthful Labataban, Magna His force is not content with repeating the past. They are eager to create something new, something bolder, something better. They are tech-savvy, globally connected, and driven by the belief that no dream is too big for them to chase. This generation is not only filling classrooms and lecture halls, but also building startups in small towns, competing in global arenas, and demanding a future where their voices are heard and their contributions valued. The hunger to achieve, to rise, transform not only their lives, but their nation's destiny, is unlike anything the world has seen at this scale. This demographic strength, if nurtured with education, skills, and opportunity, can propel India into an era of prosperity that few nations could match. At a time when much of the world is grappling with aging populations and shrinking workforces, India's abundance of young talent is a resource more valuable than oil, more powerful than gold, because it represents not just labor, but creativity, innovation, and courage. This is the heartbeat of India's growth, the very pulse that gives the nation its unstoppable momentum. Equally powerful is the way India has positioned itself on the global stage through strategic diplomacy and balanced partnerships. In a world often divided by competing blocs and shifting alliances, India has chosen a path that is neither submissive nor confrontational, but confident and pragmatic. It has cultivated relationships with nations across the spectrum, from economic powerhouses to developing regions, not out of dependency, but out of mutual respect and shared goals. This balanced approach allows India to be both a partner to the West and a friend to the East, bridging gaps where others see only conflict. It speaks not from a place of weakness, but from a position of sovereignty and self-assurance, making clear that its choices are guided by its own interests and principles. Whether in global trade, technology, defense, or climate discussions, India has become a voice that cannot be ignored, a nation that others seek to engage with because of its credibility and clarity. It is no longer confined to being a follower of global trends. It is now shaping them. This rise in influence is not just about power politics. It is about building a future where collaboration and independence coexist. By consistently standing firm while extending a hand of partnership, India is sending a clear message. It will not be dictated to, yet it is ready to work with all who respect its journey and its vision for the future. Perhaps the most compelling reason the world watches India with both respect and caution is its undeniable demographic power. With one of the youngest populations on the planet, India holds within its borders a force that is not only vast in numbers, but bursting with potential. This generation is not weighed down by the scars of the past, right? Instead, it carries the energy, creativity, and resilience needed to shape the future. Every year, millions of young men and women enter the workforce with dreams that extend far beyond borders, equipped with skills that make them valuable not just to their country, but to the global economy. They are digital natives, adaptable to rapid technological change, and unafraid to challenge outdated systems or ideas. This demographic strength is more than a statistic. It is a living, breathing engine. Growth, innovation, and cultural influence. While many developed nations face the challenge of aging populations and declining workforces, India stands at the threshold of a demographic dividend that, if harnessed effectively, could propel it to unparalleled heights. The youth carry not only the responsibility of sustaining economic progress, but also the determination to redefine what leadership, innovation, and global cooperation should look like in the modern age. Their energy fuels startups, drives scientific breakthroughs, and injects fresh vitality into every sector they touch. They embody the confidence of a nation that believes tomorrow is not something to fear, but something to create.